Hey, welcome to your Sagittarius horoscopes for the week of October 29th to November 4th. It's Halloween this week. If you're celebrating, have fun, be safe. If you're not celebrating, have fun with that too, right? If you're celebrating something other than Halloween, have fun with that. The point is always to have fun because you're Sagittarians, right? Isn't that the ultimate goal of everything? No planets in Sagittarius this week. Focus is still on trauma, at least for one more week, maybe two, and then we're kind of out of that focus for the next year or so, which is nice. And I have to say that one thing that is very difficult to focus on is the past. It's trauma that we refuse to let go of. And it's usually because not that we refuse to let go of what happened. We refuse to let go of how we feel about it. And you Sagittarians really do feel things in extreme ways. Wouldn't say bipolar necessarily, but you always know when a Sagittarian is happy. You always know when a Sagittarian is angry. You always know when a Sagittarian is bored or having fun or, the Sagittarians really almost are driven by their feelings to a certain extent, which makes it very difficult to let go of the feelings that are attached to trauma. And that's really what we're talking about here. When we're talking about letting go of past trauma, we're not talking about letting go of the situation. I mean, there's nothing you can do with the situation. It happens. You can accept that it happened, or you can not accept that it happened. But it is the traumatic feelings around it that we really have a hard time processing or letting go. And the thing is with that is that we have a right to be angry with somebody for traumatizing us whenever they did. We have every right to hold on to that anger. The problem with it is that it doesn't do us any good to hold on to that anger. Eventually, it starts to create physical illness because it's just sitting in there. It is responsible for triggers that come up in other situations in our lives right now. And so consequently, it becomes a much bigger part of our lives than we wanted it to become or to be in the first place. So this is why a lot of people, and the best example of this is people that I've come across who say, I can't be successful because my parents were abusive when I was a child, right? I'm talking to a 40-year-old person, can't be successful because my parents abused me when I was a child. Understand that. I do. I was abused as a child myself, so I can see where they're coming from with that. However, there is a statute of limitations to what we can basically blame on other people, and where we have to decide whether or not that trauma rules our lives or whether or not we are in charge of when that trauma comes up and when it doesn't. And this is why we have to have this focus on trauma. We have to learn that our trauma isn't who we are. It's something that happened to us. It does not create the person that we are. It does, in some cases, create certain personalities, like trust issues, for example. My childhood trauma has created a lot of trust issues. And while that can be a bad thing, it's not necessarily a bad thing either. It doesn't mean I don't trust anybody. It does mean that I'm a little bit more picky and choosy about who I exchange energies with right off the bat, and then I'm less trusting of what people say to me because most of the time what people say is not what they really mean. So I tend to be more cautious. It doesn't mean that I hate the world, so there is a little bit of a difference there, and those things can be used to your advantage or disadvantage. Anything can be used to your advantage or disadvantage, so you again get to choose which direction that goes in. So I feel this week, a lot of what's coming up for you guys is understanding that you can make a different choice. You don't always have to go to how you always automatically react. Maybe sit down and think about a different choice that you could make, or a different way that you could react to the situation that might change the outcome of the situation this time. So you're not caught in a space where you feel like you're spinning or stuck in quicksand, if that makes sense. The other thing is that when it comes to dealing with the situation, get help. If you can't, if you don't feel like you can get out of this on your own, there is no shame in getting help for this situation. We all get caught up in something that we can't seem to find our way out of. And even I have somebody that I go to for help when I get in that space, so I can usually when I'm saying it, it makes perfect sense. But this way I can unravel it and not be so stuck. I have an idea of which direction I need to go in. And this is where help is so important for everybody. We all get in that space where we emotionally can't see our way out of it. And going to somebody to help us through that gives us a better guarantee of the silver lining that we're looking for, if that makes sense. So that's what I have for you guys this week. Next week, it might start getting a little bit more, we might have a little bit more going on as Mercury is getting ready to move into Sagittarius, but I'm not quite sure he's going to make it into Sagittarius next week. I think it's the week after. And from there, a whole bunch of other planets are coming. So I hope you guys are ready. It is almost Sagittarius season after all, with a few more weeks, but still. That's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending me a tip or a donation through my Ko-fi link. That's ko-fi.com/heavy metal psychic, or you can click the link in the description. It's right there, easy peasy. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. And in the meantime, you guys have a beautiful healing week. Let's just let that anger go. It's no longer serving you. It's taking up space. It's holding you down, and you deserve to have nothing holding you down. I mean, think about it. If any sign is going to take over the world, whether it be good for bad, it's going to be Sagittarius. You can't take over the world if you're hanging on to old stuff that isn't serving you anymore. So you guys have a very productive week with that, and I will see you next week.